Hello. How's it going?
This is episode 31, I think.
Is it 31?
Yeah, I think it's 31.
It's been...
I haven't uploaded the last two, or the Dark and Darker playtest.
My wife's pissed.
She sounds livid, dude.
She is. She's like, at some point, Cody's gotta finish the job here.
Yeah, I'm gonna come over to your house and she's gonna beat me upside the head with a bat.
Yeah, dude. I would be careful about that.
Yeah.
If you show up.
Yeah, I'll make sure to wear a helmet.
Just show up. A bike helmet?
Yeah.
Plated armor. You're just like,
I see that threatening gaze in her eyes. She's like, I've been missing 3 months of these intimate conversations between my husband and his boyfriend. I'm fucking I have nothing to listen to at work. I have to keep re-listening to the old episodes.
She's on her third playthrough.
Yeah. Yeah, she's got that thing stuck in her head. I'm a big black man and a... She's like, no, stop! Every night.
Well, there's new content.
Yeah. The jokes are being recycled. Oh, not the gold. Anything but the gold. Oh, fuck.
The gold. Dude, remember the gold?
Yeah.
What good times we had.
Holy shit. Yeah, now it's just going downhill. Podcast is dead, bro. It's been a fucking month. Holy shit. Yeah, dude, do you want to talk about your work?
Yeah, sure. Let me tell you about my work.
Actually, just tell me about the 2 days you had off.
So I had 2 days off. Actually, I had 3-ish, but with the third day, I did nothing. So basically, though, I've been working the entire time. It's like 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. You don't get time off. Cody, he looked at me, he's like, you look groggy. And I'm a little sick, but I think I'm more of just... dead.
Yeah, I imagine you crawling over the corpses of the other 12-hour shifties to get out to get a day off. It's like, oh, hey, Bob. Hey, Sam. How you doing? He's like, oh, I'm doing good. Just laying here for a little nap. Didn't have any nutrition the last month of working here endlessly, so...
Hey, man, you see any sunlight lately?
Yeah.
Got a glimpse of it the other day.
Yeah, I stood near the window and then passed out. And then Dale came over and told me to do another 12, and I had no choice. He had my hand in his hand, and he was shaking it.
Another 12, then. Hey,
hey, dude, he looks like you lost weight. Yeah, I did. I've been starving.
Well, so it's funny, like you say. So, my boss there, he's like. At the beginning, he had this thing, like, whenever people would ask for days off and stuff, he was like, oh, yeah, the younger generations are weak. And now he's, like, leaving early. And he's like, man, I don't want to be here anymore.
Yeah, he's just trying to tough it out. He's trying to convince himself. He's like, I'm not weak. They're weak. Yeah. And then every day he comes back and he's like, yeah, I just can't fucking do it anymore. I'm done.
He just approved. Anybody asked for time, I was like, yeah, man, I get it.
He's like, you know what? I was trying to push myself through, but it's not worth it. Life's too short.
Yeah. At this point, man. Jesus.
I don't even remember if I have a wife or kids. All I can think about is the parts, the robots, and the arms.
The car parts. We make car part memes at work. I should put some in the thumbnail for this.
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
Little bit of the sliver of hope that comes out of the hands of the molded dead men.
Yeah, whenever you have a moment off, you're like, why don't I make a good meme about car parts?
Yeah. You're like, the guys will really appreciate this. And then you guys share it for the 5-minute lunch break that they allow you before they start cranking the whip again. You're like, check this out, I made this in the bathroom.
Whoa.
Whoa, dude, that's just like my situation. I can completely identify with this.
I have one that's I tried to explain, because they're all American memes with memes that we're used to, and then they have words replaced with car parts. So explaining one of the memes to a Polish guy, it's the bed meme. It's where it's my side and then the other side. It's your side is 25% and then the other side is car parts.
Yeah. Oh, God.
And so
so good.
Explaining that to the Polish guy, I'm like, think about it this way. you have that little sliver and that's your life, and then the rest of your life is car parts. He's like, oh, I get it now.
Oh my god.
So I had to de-shirt myself.
No, yeah, yeah. For anybody listening, Sam just took off his sweatshirt.
Yeah.
See, it's gonna get hot in here.
This is the strip cast.
Yeah, strip cast. Sorry, we're not gonna have any camera footage for this one.
Yeah.
Your wife is gonna have to do without it.
She will.
But I'll post feet pics later.
But anyways, yeah, I had a couple days off. One of which was Easter weekend. So like the first day of Easter weekend, well, it's 3 days really together, total. So my wife's birthday was 2 days before Easter, and so I was like, I'm gonna take day off. My wife, she deserves it. So we also had like church stuff to do that day and all that. So I just hung out with her all day. I made crepes, homemade.
Dude, that sounds awesome.
All together. I made my own Blintz filling and my own raspberry syrup.
Oh my goodness. That sounds like a birthday meal.
It was. I'm so proud of myself for making this. I made the crepe. The crepe was perfect. The batter, perfect. I put it, if you ever watch like a modern cooking show, like, I threw in the blast chiller for 45 minutes. I put it in the blast chiller, dude.
There's nothing wrong with that crepe. It sounds like it turned out amazing.
Oh, yeah. Raspberry syrup, good stuff. Blintz filling, beautiful, perfectly balanced. Had a fantastic time doing all that.
I just imagine you pulling out like the protractor. You're like, babe, this has to be perfect. It's your birthday. I can't fuck it up.
I'm like leveling our oven, like stovetop, so it doesn't.
Yeah, you
overflow.
you don't want the pancakes slightly like lopsided. You do like that putting green test where they roll a golf ball down it to make sure it's flat. You got the big piece of 2x4. You're like, I gotta know.
I must level. Yeah, so I leveled the oven, got the crepes perfect, made some breakfast sausage with it. 10 out of 10. I would say best breakfast meal I've created all by scratch. So, but so then we like went to church. We did stuff at church. It was Good Friday, or no, I'm blanking on the name. But anyway, the Friday before Easter.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my wife, she had she has youth group, and so they basically made like a play of the Stations of the Cross, and so that was pretty cool.
Now, was she like a character in it?
No, she was like more of like a stagehand.
Hmm.
But like she helped her and the other lady helped organize the kids so they had their play thing, and it went pretty good. I guess like on one of the nights that they did it, like people were like crying in the audience. So yeah, it was pretty intense.
I was gonna say, between the bucket of tomatoes and the rags to cry into, I was wondering which end of the scale.
They definitely had the rags.
And what play did they do? Was it anything specific?
No, it's just Stations of the Cross. So
I
it's
don't know
like
what the Stations of the Cross is.
It's like how the Romans, crucified Jesus.
Oh, I got you. Okay,
thing.
that whole
a little section there.
Yeah.
So Mary comes up and does oh man, my boy, what have you done to my boy? And then that's.
I see.
Yeah.
Is that where most people cried at?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and then did that. That was cool. Went over to my we made kielbasa that night as well. So drove down to my uncle's place, ground some pork butt, made it in some delicious sausage. That was a fantastic time, as it always is. And then the next day I woke up and I had that day off too, which was surprising.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, I imagine you woke up, thought you had to get to work, like started going to work, and then you were like, wait, I have the day off.
My brain was like that because I woke up at like 5:30. I was like, nope, it's time to wake up, brother. What are you doing? And struggled that whole day because I was just tired. It's weird having a day off because like you just think about all the things that you should be doing, but like you have no energy to do any of them. So like that was exciting, I guess. Pretty much
exciting. That's a way to describe it.
Yeah, pretty much did nothing. Went to bed at 9:30, but it was like just needed to rest, and so yeah.
Did your watch or whatever yell at you to go to sleep at all?
I should show you. It's like, hey, in order to catch up on your sleep, you need like 10 hours still, and like I just can't.
Yeah.
I can't get to 10 hours. Even today, I took the day off today, and like. I got 8 hours max, but like as soon as I woke up, I'm like, I'm not going back. There's too much to do.
Yeah.
So that's a problem, but whatever. Yeah, and then Easter, went over, ate the kielbasa soup for breakfast, delicious, good time. Yeah, went to in-laws after, and that was it, man.
It sounds like you had some fun on your days off, though, and you got some food.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like you just get home and you basically, like, veg and then go to sleep, or what?
For after Easter?
No, I mean, like, after your days of work. I mean,
after
12
work?
hours, right?
It's like, so work, usually I get home at, like, I work from 6 to 6:30, so I get home about 7.
Yeah.
Takes a half hour to get home. I usually will either make dinner... Yeah, usually I get home, I take a shower because the place is filthy, and I just work 12 hours, so... Go take a shower, go either cook food or eat food if my wife has made food. And then, yeah, I get about like an hour of life.
I was gonna say, and then she works all day, doesn't she, too? Or...
Yeah, she works from like 8 to 6, so not as bad.
Yeah, it's 10 hours. Yeah, but still, that's... Man, it sounds like you guys are working hard, man.
Yeah.
You guys have a goal in mind? You're trying to pay off your wedding or something, or what?
I mean, like, it's not like we're in debt from the wedding.
No, I didn't think so. But...
Yeah, but no, we want to get a dog or something at some point. But we also, we've been talking about having kids at some point. I get a year.
Oh, that'll be pretty soon.
Yeah, I know it's soon. So, like, I was thinking about that. So, like, I bought, like, a DNA test. I'm like, well, might as well find out what genes I could produce for my child.
That's cool. Yeah, you're already doing the research. You're, like, going to min-max them.
Yeah, exactly.
You're like, babe, this fucking kid's going to come out like an Ubermensch. Literally, if the kid doesn't say on the x-ray that he's going to be anywhere close to Arnold Schwarzenegger, we're just deleting him. I'm done.
She's, like, giving birth, and, like, the baby just, like, comes out, does, like, a forward roll, and, like, has, like, the hands in the air, like an Olympic child.
Yeah, and then you hold up, like, your numbers. You rate them lower. You're like, he could do better. I came out of the womb flying.
I just hand him, like, a teach pendant for a robot. Here you go. Get to work.
You immediately start testing his skills. You have like a multiple choice 300 question quiz.
IQ test.
You're like, we're gonna see if it's just his spatial reasoning. They come out, they like miss a question. You're like, honey, he's not ready yet. Push him back in.
Put him back in the oven.
Needs a little bit longer to ferment.
Jesus. But yeah, so that's exciting.
Dude, speaking of babies, real quick, we went to like a Salvation Army day the other day, and we were going to all the different ones. And Tyler mentioned an interesting question because we were talking about like the placenta and the umbilical cords for babies, and then I was thinking about it, and I was like, well, like cats and dogs have like litters of them, and so we were thinking about the concept of like because I had saw a guy, like a Salvation Army or something, who had like kind of like a gimpy looking arm. And then we were talking about the concept of like the umbilical cord wrapping around and like stifling those things from developing.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, cats and dogs, they have like a lot of, like, how don't the cords get like tangled up or something? Like, what does that even look like? And so I looked up a picture of it, and the placenta is like a long, like, line, basically. And then there's little umbilical cords for each thing in a sequential row.
Gotcha.
And I was like, wow, that's crazy. I would have never knew that. I was like, oh man, wouldn't they be floating around in there? And then like they'd have to worry about it? Yeah, or something. That's crazy to me.
Weird.
Well, it's pretty gruesome looking. So anybody who wants to look it up, go ahead. It's really interesting information.
Sick.
Nature's beautiful.
It is. It's pretty sick how you just, your body just was like, yeah, why don't we just do this, Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, so I got this book.
Sex for Christians.
We went to a bookstore, and we didn't realize it was a Christian bookstore. And then when we got to the back of the store, since it said, like, used books, I was like, awesome, we can, like, get a bunch of books or whatever. And then they had a sale in the window that said, like, you can get a bag of books, like a big brown paper bag for $5. And you can just fill it with as many books as you wanted.
Take them.
Yeah, and so we were looking, and it turned out every book back there was, like, a Christian book. And I was like, oh my goodness, like, there are so many books here. And I was like, I don't know if I'm going to, like, use any of these books or whatever, and anything like that. So we were going through them. I found a bunch that I actually did want to read that I was curious about, and that was one of them.
Yeah.
We originally were laughing about it because it seems, like, pretty funny, but, like, the name of the book is Sex for Christians.
Yeah.
And I handed it to you since I felt like there's no better time than, you working to have a baby.
Optimal.
Yeah. And but we were reading some of the passages in it, and they were pretty good. But aside from that, the reason I wanted to pass it to you is because my favorite thing about it is in the top right of the cover, it says Revised Edition, and I love the idea of them fucking it up. Like, imagining the guy, like, puts it out to print, and he's like, oh shit, we told the Christians to use the wrong hole! Like, we're not gonna have any babies, and, like, there'll be no followers. Quick, send the Revised Edition out! Like, I can't imagine, like, what they revised in there. Like, I gotta read it now just to know, like, what they potentially changed.
My dear friend?
Yeah.
In memory of my dear friend.
Ugh.
I wonder what kind of friend that was.
Yeah, it was a sexy friend. That's what it was. Oh, my God.
I mean, like, oh, man, they cover it all.
Yeah, why don't you read some of the table of contents out for us?
Here, part 1, Sex and the Christian People. Part 2, Sex and Single People.
I like the idea of imagining how sex and single people, like they're like, you can't masturbate and you can't have one night stands, according to God. So to have sex with yourself, you just have to lay in a bed, tie your hands up with duct tape, and have a mental orgasm.
I mean, like, I like in part 2, Sex for Single People. The first chapter of that is sexual intercourse. Just called like
with yourself, but no coming.
I mean, like in Sex for Married People, it's like adultery, sexual freedom in marriage, and then creative fidelity. Spicy.
Honestly, that could be pretty good.
Yeah, I know. I would read chapters
all
of
it,
book.
yeah. It might be one of those things where you have to just flip to the table of contents that's like relevant to you and then just read that chapter sort of thing.
Exactly. The romantic marriage.
That's what you want, right? For Christians.
No, this is a good book, dude. This is a good find.
Yeah, there was a great passage about like men and women and like men's perception of women throughout history, and as well as like how the church treated women. So that's the reason we got it, because I read that line, I was like, oh, it's actually really poignant and it was really good.
Yeah. I'm just really curious about that whole chapter.
Sex without conception.
Yeah, because they want you to have a child.
I like the first line. Most married people today simply assume that conception is a secondary issue.
Yeah, well, that's second.
Yeah, the first issue, coming. The second issue, children.
Yeah, no, ever since I was married, I always thought that kids would come second after coming.
I like this much asked question, how much sex? The first line, if sex is good once a week, it is great every day.
Every day. I saw that.
That's so good.
Every day.
I also love this like weird scenario that they start sketching out at the bottom. Today, a scenario might look like this. Peter, 45, is subject to chronic mild depression. He's harassed at work, angry at his wife's sloppy appearance, but not her sloppy joppies. Oh, God. No, I'm sure it's actually a really pragmatic book about having a relationship in a Christian.
Probably. Yeah. Who's it by? I just want to see.
Yeah.
Oh, Louis B. Schmeeds.
It's probably real good. I don't like the name, but...
Schmeeds?
Schmeeds. It sounds cunning.
It's probably a fake name. It's got to be, right?
Yeah, if you're gonna write a book like that, it might be.
It's very promiscuous in the Christian community.
Well, it's true. I mean, it was able to be in that bookstore, so.
Wow.
And then I also got this beautiful copy, which you pointed out earlier, of the Holy Bible. The cool thing is they actually said their Bibles were all free, so I could just walk in and take any one.
Damn.
And that's the one I took.
This is a big, good Bible, though.
Yeah, and the cool thing is it's the King James Version, and I didn't notice until later, but if you go to the back where the New Testament is, all of the stuff, all of the actual lines by Jesus, like whatever he says, are in red. So it makes it really easy to like read it.
There you go.
Because then you're like, oh, because it'll say in the line, like, and then he said, and then the text, but you don't really know when it ends. Like, it's kind of ambiguous.
Yeah.
So the red lines do help. I don't know how accurate that is, but it's cool.
Dude, they got pictures.
Yeah, they got pictures in there. There's like a section in the middle.
That's what sandals look like.
Yeah, honestly. These are things to know when you're looking in your mind's eye.
Yeah.
Like, what were they wearing?
Oh.
Were they barefoot walking?
What do sandals look like?
What minimalist toe shoes am I going to buy on Amazon in order to make sure that I live the life of a Galilean man?
Oh, they have different kinds of sandals, though.
Oh, shit. I don't know which one to pick now.
Astrian
Tell
sandals?
me, are their toes stretched? I've been doing my toe exercises. I gotta know. I think the big toe is supposed to be out left more.
Dude. Oh, you know what? Okay, so you just pointed out something that I've been worried about recently.
Yeah.
Okay, this is immediate left turn
Yeah,
from the Holy Bible, but
hit it.
Dude, I bought some new boots, and the new boots sucked because they crushed my toes in. I always had like wide feet, right?
Yeah.
And so like I liked having my toes spread out a little bit, and if you like do some research or whatever, right? If you walk around barefoot, your toes spread out.
Yeah.
Because that way you're better on the ground. Where you wear shoes, they tighten up because they need to fit in the shoe. I prefer my toes. I prefer to walk barefoot and all that stuff. So, like, I get these boots. I wear them for a few weeks. I noticed my pinky toe starts, like, curling almost under my foot. And I'm like, we're going back to the old boots because they're, like, not as wide. But, dude, I don't know.
I hate to interrupt you. We just recently reconnected with one of Jade's older friends, and he's like a massage therapist, and I was talking to him a lot, and one of the topics he brought up with me was like toe yoga. And because he was talking about, because something I have a problem with is when I walk duck feet, like my feet are outward. And I've been working on trying to train my strike as well, because I don't want to do a heel strike anymore. I'm trying to do like a middle or toe strike or something. And what he said is, he said that naturally the big toe is supposed to be like out, like out inward, basically. Yeah. But because of the toes and the way we have shoes, it like constrains them. And so you lose like a center of balance, which your toe would lay out in order to support. So what he suggested is like to do the toe yoga and then to get some wide toe box shoes. Yeah. Which allow you to actually continue to maintain that spreading. But there's actually a muscle there that is completely dead that I've never used, that when I do the toe yoga, I can actually move my big toes inward. Towards my crotch, I guess is the best way to describe it. I don't know. Like if you're standing up.
Inward makes sense.
Yeah, inward, yeah. So that is pretty interesting. And he was showing me how to do it.
Damn.
But because our shoes have like pointed, and because they have to have extra padding, we end up heel striking anyways because the ground's really hard. So yeah.
So like doing football in middle school, they like teach you to walk on like the balls of your feet, the front, which is good, I think. So I've just always walked like that for like forever now, but yeah.
I notice like from the videos I've watched, people like speculate that you can do a mix of both. Like if you're on hard surfaces, you like want to try to lessen the impact to your heel and use your foot like a hinge. And then if you're on soft surfaces, you can swap it up and do different things. So,
yeah.
But it was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
And then kind of another random segue, but I wanted to mention it. I finished my first 3-day fast.
Wow. How did you feel?
Honestly, so the only reason I stopped, I kind of wanted to go longer, was because Jade's car broke. And so she needed me to drive her, and I was feeling good, but I was feeling like kind of lightheaded. And this is the first time I've ever done it. So she was like, well, why don't you just eat so then you can drive me the next couple of days and then you can do it at another point. So I was able to do the full 72 hours, which I did want to do anyways. But overall, the thing I was most surprised with is I had an immense amount of focus. And that's really what I wanted. I wanted to see if I could focus while I was doing it, and it was great. It was amazing.
Gotcha.
I was able to... I mean, the hunger pangs lasted for like a moment, and then they would recede after if I ignored them.
Yeah.
But man, I want to try doing 7 days next, I think.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Jesus.
I think that'll be fun.
7... So, alright. Yeah, if it works for you, go for it.
Yeah. I mean, my fast was just tea and water and no food of any kind. I know people do stuff with chicken broth and things like that.
Yeah.
But man, I just love the clear-headedness. I kind of liked the weakness because I wasn't that energetic. Like, I didn't have to... I still exercised a little bit, but I didn't need to as much.
You didn't get, like, achy, though?
No.
No? See, like, because I'll do it for, like, a day. Just to, like, reset everything. And, like, just that, I'm like... My fingers get achy, my, like... whole body just gets like really achy, and it's like just you know where the food is, go get it, and then you'll feel better. And it's like, all right.
Honestly, after day 2, I think was the hardest, but then after that point, it was, I was completely fine with it. I easily think I could do more. From what I understand, the autophagy process, I still haven't learned how to pronounce that word, where your cells regenerate, happens after 72 hours. So I'd like to try a week to see how I feel after going through that, because like. I guess it makes sense to me. Like, it makes sense even why I had more focus, because if you think about, like, a primitive man, like, he's not going to eat all the time, and his body has to give him dopamine in order for him to, like, secure the hunt.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, if anything, maybe there was, a period of increased dopamine for me, and that's why it was easier to focus.
Yeah.
And then I was trying to, like, ignore the hunger pangs, so it was easier to work on stuff that I wanted to get done.
Yeah.
And I didn't have the extra energy, which I could use for, like, fapping or exercise or edging or whatever. So I felt like,
Easy.
Yeah, it honestly, it was really fun. I quite liked it. I feel like the healthiest possible way to do it is to do it when there's, like, a lot of sunlight and you're getting a lot of sunlight. I don't think it's healthy to, like, stay inside while you're doing it. I think you need something.
Yeah.
I mean, the tea is something at least, and then whatever, but...
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
I was honestly most worried about, like, I've never gone that long without eating in my life. And I've also, like, I had faith in my body's ability to continue using the intestines and correctly.
Yeah.
But I was like, am I going to be able to, like, poop after 3 days? Like, how does this work? Like, what am I supposed to do? Like, I don't know. But all the faculties worked completely fine afterwards. Yeah, it's pretty cool. So, yeah, I just want to mention it. It was really cool. Cool. I definitely am going to try it again. I'll let you know how 7 days goes, though. Or maybe we'll do a podcast when I'm on my 7th day, and we can talk about it.
I mean, you didn't feel like just low energy and stuff?
No, I felt like mentally I was really clear.
Yeah.
And that's the thing I wanted. I wanted that clarity. I mean, I had, like, my stomach would grumble and things like that, but that was something I can ignore. I mean, even now I feel a little bit hungry, but I was waiting till we did the podcast because I wanted that hunger to propel me for the podcast. So now I feel like it's an interesting tool I can use, basically. And so I'm going to try to use it more.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah.
I've been, I've done the complete opposite and just eat too much food every day because it's like the only time of my day that I get to enjoy. It's like eating food. So it's like, well, you just eat the food and then you get to...
No, I completely feel you. Like, I love eating food, and then when I eat, I feel like for 2 hours I like don't want to do anything. Like, when I'm digesting, I can't do any mental work. Like, if I eat too much, I do feel sleepy. Like, even the day I ate after the fast, I was, like, basically tired after.
Oh, yeah.
So, I don't know.
Siestas, they're correct.
Yeah?
Yeah, that's the correct state. Because, like, after you eat, it's just, like, I'm not going to do anything really good for a while.
Yeah. I do, so... I guess dealing with that, I have been eating, like, mainly once a day, in different times, but, I don't know. I gotta figure out a schedule that works best for me. I'm not sure how much I want to do it, how often I want to do it.
Well, I think some people, whenever they do, like, fasting, they'll do, like, fasting, and then they'll, like, eat a metric ton of food, like, over their normal amount, just because they're so hungry after so many hours. I think, like, the intermittent fasting, like, it probably works for some people really well, but, like, I know if I were to start doing it, I'd probably overeat every time. You know.
Yeah, that's something I was worried about too. I know like refeeding syndrome only happens after like a really long, prolonged period of time without food, and you have to like reintroduce food like slowly to yourself after that point. But
yeah,
I'm not really worried about it. I just wanted to see if I could do it for focus, and it does seem to work. So, I mean, even during the day right now without having eaten, I do feel more focused. So I imagine it's something I could do with intermittent fasting, but I also want to exercise too. So I need the energy for that.
Yeah,
I think.
exercise, you need it.
My girlfriend's parents got me one of those little blenders.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and that thing is
bullet.
Yeah, it's like a bullet.
Yeah,
it's amazing, dude.
It's so nice.
It's fine. I finally have the easiest possible way to just ingest as much kale as possible without having to chew it. Like, I'll just put in some fruit, like kale, and then, like, other shit, like ginger or turmeric, whatever I'm feeling like. And it's just in there, and I just blend it up. I can literally physically pick up the whole blender and shake it like a madman to get it all blended. And honestly, it's too powerful because I can just swallow all of my food. Yeah. I don't have to, like, my jaw's going to become, like, emaciated and weak, and you're going to see me with, like, a receded chin because I don't have to I just have to suck my food through a fucking straw like an old geriatric patient.
You're just sucking it down.
Yeah.
Oh. No, whenever I was growing up, my cousin's parents got a juicer.
Yeah.
And like having that for breakfast is like it's a game changer.
Yeah, it is.
In your life, because it's like I don't normally eat carrots, but if you just throw them in the juicer, dude, sure.
Yeah, eat them.
Yeah, now I'll eat
I love that I can have like a wide variety of fruits and vegetables and just blend them into a cup and then just drink the ambiguous slop.
I know you're probably not making like recipes or anything, but if you do like I would do like a smoothie, and so like it would be like ice, blueberries, peanut butter, chocolate.
Oh yeah,
like just cocoa powder and stuff. Oh, for breakfast.
That's probably amazing.
Throw oats in. Well, only if you do something like a little bit more. If you throw oats in the blender, it's pretty good.
Yeah, I'll try that too.
With it.
I'm
Did you knock on the door?
I don't think so. I'm quite happy with the. I think he was just closing a cabinet.
Oh.
I'm very happy with how it turned out. Or that thing is amazing. I did not expect to get so much use out of it. They gave it to me for Easter, and I've just been blending everything. I'm like, dog, kale. I even tried putting garlic in there. It was horrible.
Yeah, that would not be.
Yeah. I was like, kale and garlic. I'm like, oh, God, I gotta finish it. I'm like beating myself up. Oh, fuck.
You just stank afterwards.
Yeah, God, it was pretty rough.
You sweat after eating raw garlic.
Yeah.
It just comes out your pores, man.
It was good, though. I mean, for a limited amount of time. After I couldn't stomach it anymore, then I had to stop.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, do you want to hear my weird story?
I'm ready, yeah. I was born ready for this one.
All right. So let's see, where do I even start? So yesterday, actually I gotta start way before that. So I've been using the AIs to like find my desires and figure that out.
I was gonna ask you about that, the AI journey.
So here's the continuation of that story.
I'm ready.
That no one has heard since I haven't uploaded the last episode. I've been continuing to use the chatbots, and then I've also been continuing to break the chatbots, obviously, with whatever ways I can. I've been trying a multitude of them, but I've also been using like ChatGPT to like talk through like different aspects. And then I was reading this really interesting book. I think something happened like I was having dreams predominantly with like the red and blue color like showing up, and then shortly thereafter I went to like Salvation Army and got a book called Writing on Both Sides of the Brain, and on the cover was like a red hand and a blue hand, and that was really interesting to me. And then I also noticed, like, for my hearing aids that I wear, like, blue is on the left side and red is on the right as well for the different types. So there's like a splitting there that was really interesting that I didn't notice, and I think my dreams were trying to explain it. So I've been reading this book, Writing on Both Sides of the Brain, and something they mentioned in there, this is like an old book, I think it was written in the late 80s or early 90s or something. And something she mentions is that if you want to figure out like how you truly feel about something, you have to do like a rapid writing. And so the way you do it is she recommends you wake up in the morning, when you're too tired to process, when your editing side of your brain is like asleep, you just try to write everything you can without any judgment. And then you don't stop, basically. You just keep going. And through all of that, like rapid writing and the different types of journaling, doing that strategy, as well as like the dream, different things I've learned from my dreams, I recognize that like my primary like problem is that I seek a lot of validation and approval from other people. And I think that's the whole reason why I was like procrastinating working on my game for so long, is because like I was too busy like trying to please other people rather than satisfy like what I wanted to do. And my need for like control in my own life, the only thing I felt like I had control over was like my addiction to pornography. Because I felt like that was something like I could just indulge and then no one could tell me like no, essentially. And I think that's probably a reason why I had a lot of these like fantasies as well for like domination and things like that. Because of that need for control. Because in essence, my body the entire time I'm like rejecting it, but it's just trying to tell me that I need to like control my life, essentially. And so, like, all my desires manifested as that. My dreams manifested in those desires as well. And then through reflecting on and looking at those things, as well as asking myself the questions of, like, why am I procrastinating? Why am I being this type of person? Like, why do I have an addiction to this sort of thing? Why do I feel like I want to be alone from everyone all the time? And I think it's because, like, my body was just trying to tell me, like, hey, you need to stop finding the validation externally through other people. And you have to begin to find it internally. And so that was a really profound conclusion for me to reach. And it has made a lot of things really interesting. So fast forward, I've been reading the book. I've been writing my dreams still. And I think I had that like conclusion like somewhere in the week or whatever. And then I think even it was yesterday morning too. I like wrote down that stuff and figured out why I was like being more of a hermit and things like that, and why also I was struggling to like find the motivation to work on my game, and also why I continued to like further the pornography addiction and things like that. And so I reached all these like different conclusions that were really interesting to me. And I woke up at like 7:30. I wrote down my dream. Took me like 30 or 40 minutes. And then I did the rapid writing to figure out all those answers. And then I was able to just work on my game. And I worked on it for like an hour and a half. And it was awesome. I was able to just like listen to my intuition and turn off the critic in my brain for a minute. And I think I have to do a lot more training to turn off that critic and invite him back when I'm ready. Because I think that the wholeness of both aspects are really important. But I think that my problem is that I'm letting the critic, which is essentially all the people over my life that have shaped like the way I judge myself, basically. I mean, I talked about in previous podcasts, like I was projecting like how I felt I should be onto others. And that let me label that inner voice. And then once I was able to label the inner voice, like it took away some of the power for it. And then once I started giving that voice like a name and a character and a personality, and then trying to figure out like who it represents and what faces it manifests as, then I took away like more power from it, because I'm like understanding like who it is. And I'm also trying to give that other side of my brain, the like more visual, silent one that doesn't talk in language, like more freedom to express itself. And then I have to figure out the process of sublimation, which is like taking all of my energy and like putting it into creating art and stuff. And that's something I still haven't tackled, but it's something I have to do. And as well as all of my feelings about like objectifying women over time through using pornography. I recognize like through exploring my desires with these chatbots, like what images am I generating? Why am I role-playing these fantasies? What aspects do I like about this? What memories am I not confronting that I still have leftover grief from in these aspects that I need to like deal with, essentially? And then I started journaling to figure all those out. So I reached a bunch of conclusions, worked on my game a little bit. And then Jade wanted to go to do some errands. So we ran to, I go to her house, I took a shower, and then we get in the car, and we have to go to the bank first. So we stop at the bank, do that. And then we have to go to the art store. So we walk around the art store a little bit. She gets something for her commission that she needed. And then we go to the Asian Mart. And so we go to the Asian Mart, and I had an interesting moment in the Asian Mart when we were checking out, where I saw an old elderly Asian couple put a bag of mandarin oranges on the conveyor belt, and my intuition told me that an orange was going to fall out of it, but I was like, no, it's not going to fall out. It'll be fine. Like, that's what my rational, like, critic said. And then, sure shit, the orange fell out, so I, like, picked it up. They thanked me in Chinese and said a bunch of other stuff, and they were chuckling. I don't know what it was, but I understood shisha. I like the thank you.
Shisha.
And then, so we got in the car, and we were driving back to her house, because we had our groceries and stuff. We picked up some food, and I'm stopped at a stoplight, and suddenly I feel like my head fly forward. And Jade's flies forward as well, and we got completely rear-ended.
Oh,
like,
Jesus.
we were stopped at the stoplight, and it just turned green, and we were, like, getting ready to go, and just whiplash immediately, like,
yeah.
And my car was, like, plowed in the back, and I'm like, oh, God. So the first thing I think is I'm not, like, angry or whatever. I'm just like, oh, man, like,
we gotta solve
my
this.
head hurts. Yeah, that, like, holy shit. And, like, it was really sudden, and then we're trying to figure out, like, what the hell happened. And so I, like, looked at Jade. She looks like she's fine. I'm fine. It doesn't seem like we crashed into anybody in front of us or anything like that. And I, like, open my door, and there's a, like, a 16-year-old girl.
Oh, no.
And, yeah, and she's, like, crying already, and she's, like, asking me if I'm all right. I'm like, well, my head hurts, but otherwise, I guess I'm fine. And she's, like, panicking or whatever. It was really, it was funny.
Yeah.
It was pretty funny. I've never been in a car accident in my entire life, so I didn't really know the process for what to do. So I was like, okay, well, I'm, like, trying to calm her down or comfort her or whatever, which I'm terrible at comforting.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it was bad. I think that's just from my inability to comfort myself. I can't. It's something I'll learn, but I'm like just telling her like, oh, it's fine. We'll figure it out. Like, I'm not worried about it.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at my car. I'm like, man, it's like dented to shit in the back. And then and her car is like completely fine. It's like a big black SUV.
Yeah.
It take no damage at all.
Yeah.
My little Volkswagen like caved in. And so I'm sitting there.
You took the impact.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, and so, like, I'm trying to calm her down, and I do this, like, awkward, like, I introduce myself and shake her hand. I'm like, hi, I'm Cody, like, what's your name? She's, like, tells me her name, and we're, like, standing in the road, like,
crying.
Yeah, basically. And I was like, okay, well, we should get out of the road first. So,
Yeah.
like, let's go over to this parking lot over here, and then we'll figure it out. And she's like, oh, God. She's like, my mom's gonna be so mad. Like, all this stuff. I'm like, whatever, we'll figure it out. And so, then we, like, go to the parking lot. And she's, like, panicking still. We're, like, trying to comfort her. I'm, like, trying to talk to her. I'm trying to get Jade to, like, figure out the process. So she, like, calls her dad, asks, well, like, what information we need from her and all this stuff. I have, like, the cheapest insurance ever. It's just, like, PLPD.
Yeah,
so
that's what I
whatever.
have
I gave her a picture of it. I took a picture of her insurance. She gave me her number. I was like, okay, well, like, why don't you have your mom call me later, and then we'll try to figure it out. Because I didn't want to call the cops. Because she's like 16, and we were already talking about like we don't want her insurance premium to go up, or her to get a ticket or anything like that. So we were trying to figure out a way to like resolve it without having to get the cops involved, without having to go through the insurance and stuff. So I was like, well, have your mom call me later, and then we'll figure it out. I said like your parents or whatever.
Yeah.
And so like I text her later that day, and she's like, okay, I told my grandmother she's going to tell my mom when she gets home. I was like, okay. I got a quote from my dad for how much he thinks it would cost to fix the back of it. He said it'd be about like $2,000 to $3,000. I called my insurance company and I was like, well, what can I do with my PLPD? And they're like, well, at max you can get that. Well, they said you can get about $3,000 because I wasn't in fault for it, and I could potentially get it from their insurance because I was just literally sitting at a light and they rammed into me. Yeah. So, and I can also file for like any medical things if I wanted to.
That's what the PLPD covers, yeah.
Which was interesting. So then her mom calls me later in the day, and I was like, okay, well, I think we can like reach a conclusion for this dispute. Like I explained to her what happened, and then I explained like, okay, well, I think I can probably fix my car for like $2,000 to $3,000. Like if we can figure out a way to make that work, then we can do something and it'll be fine. And I won't have to go file a police report. And I also won't have to do any sort of insurance thing, which would risk her and premium going up. And it's even more because she's young. She's 16. She's a minor. So she was like, okay, well, I'm a single mother and I'm a bus driver and I don't have $3,000. I'm like, okay, well, I guess that makes sense. Like, so I was trying to think about it and I was like, man, like what do I really want to do here? Like, this is a tough situation because I don't want to go through with the premium and stuff. And so I was talking with my parents about it. I talked with Jade and Tyler about it and trying to figure it out. And they suggested that I just go through with the filing. And then also, like, later in the evening, like, probably at, like, 9 or 10 at night, the girl's uncle calls me, and he tells me, like, yeah, these things happen, like, you just need to file. Like, that's what you gotta do. If it happens, like, she can't pay the $3,000, she's a single mom, like, she'll have to deal with the premium, essentially, because her daughter hit you or whatever, and all this stuff. And so I was like, okay. And so, before I get to the end and conclusion of that story, I have to talk about one of my dreams.
Okay.
So
I'm ready.
So a month ago, this happened yesterday, which was the 28th. A month and 2 days ago, on the 26th, I had a dream. And I'll just give you like a basic like rundown of what the dream was. So like in the dream, I was in a supermarket. It started at the bottom level. The supermarket was kind of like a tower, basically. And in the supermarket, I was like a rebellious person. And I like ran up the stairs, like ascending the tower, and like killed a bunch of people. Yeah, I was like fighting them. I was like taking them out.
Slaughtering. Yeah.
And when I got to the top of the tower, there was a black SUV. And in this SUV was two passengers, or like two people. There was a person in the driver's seat and a person in the passenger seat. I managed to kill the person in the passenger seat, but no matter how much I tried to kill the person in the driver's seat, I couldn't do it. Like, they wouldn't die. Yeah. And so nothing, basically, they just were invincible. Yeah. And so after, like, they called for help or whatever, I was like, oh, fuck it. So, like, I ran back down the tower into the supermarket, and then I overheard some people talking, and I tried to, like, blend in with the crowd or whatever. And I noticed a mother and her daughter. And something interesting was that they were, like, trying to figure out, like, what to do about the situation. And I, like, came up with an idea. Like, I was like, okay, well, here, we can go out this way. And I, like, opened up an entrance. And then I was like, and then we can just go out. And I started walking away. And then they were having trouble with their car. And so I was like, okay, well, I'll, like, come and help you with your car or whatever. And so, like, I walk back towards them. And then, like, the dream ends. And so... this dream I had like a month ago, and I thought that was pretty interesting because there's some symbolism in reference to this. And what I think like the symbolism means is, I didn't realize this until this morning, so I guess I'll finish the story and then I'll tell you the symbolism. Okay. So I sent them a text last night at 1 a.m. Because I've made my decision for what I wanted to do. So I'll read it. I've mulled it over. Your uncle suggested I go through and file the police report, and then file an insurance claim. This will cause your insurance premium to increase by upwards of 50%, and the police report could result in a ticket or worse. Yeah. My car has damages upwards of $2,000 to $3,000 without labor or any potential unknowns like axle damage, tire, or otherwise. I have less than $100 to my name, and I'm quite poor. It is in my best interest to file. Despite all of these factors, I'm deciding not to file or write anything. I have faith in my ability. In this world, we sometimes are given the opportunity to bear the burden of suffering, and this is one I'm taking. You will make many mistakes through your life, but each one will be an important learning opportunity. I've fallen so much and been lifted by the help and love of others. The only real failure is when we stop getting up after we fall down. Don't beat yourself up too much, just try to do the best you can. Compassion is my lesson. Good luck. Sincerely, Cody Penn.
Jesus. Nice.
Yeah, so...
Look at you go.
Yeah, so I decided to do that. Because I can live without a car. It's not the end of the world for me. It's just a material possession. And so when I was thinking about my dream this morning, it popped into my head because I sent that last night. I haven't gotten any response from them. I don't know. I'm sure, whatever, they're fine. Yeah. But when I woke up, I remember that dream from a month ago. I haven't read any of my dreams at all. It just popped in my head. And what I think it was is I think, like, the ascension of... Well, first off, we left the supermarket. We left, like, the Asian Mart, which was a supermarket. Yeah. So and that's where the dream started, was in the supermarket. Yeah. And then also there was, like, the ascension up the tower. I think, like, the aspect of killing, like, these people are, like, the voices in my head that have, like, been holding me back, essentially. Okay. I think by, like... going through the journey of self and like climbing up the tower, I had like was taking out all of these like different voices that were giving me like bad advice and like just essentially ruling my life without letting me have control of it. And I think when I finally got to the top, that black SUV, which I think is related to the SUV that hit me, is like there was a person in the driver's seat that I couldn't kill. And I think that was like an old aspect of myself. And at that moment, a month ago, it was invincible. And the way I tried to kill it was like by stabbing, which is like my hands. And it wasn't really a problem that you can take care of with your hands. Like this was a problem that required something different, something more spiritual, I think. Mm-hmm. And so like once I decided like, okay, I can't do this. Like I can't face this right now. I went back down to the supermarket, and that's when I met like those the mother and the daughter, and then I decided to help them with their car after I had found a solution that I showed them. And so I think like this aspect of like the reason to overcome the person I was and to not be the person who isn't in control of their life is by me like through the act of self-sacrifice, recognizing that I can make my own decisions.
Yeah.
And it's my decision if I decide not to file a police report. It's my decision if I decide not to file an insurance claim. It's my decision if I decide that I just don't want, you know, I think this girl learned her lesson from just hitting me and being an inattentive driver for those moments. Like, I think she's learned every lesson, and she has probably a lot more lessons to learn in her life that'll hopefully be, you know, powerful opportunities to grow from. Yeah. But this is one that I can choose where it's not like that big of a deal. She doesn't have a permanent thing on her license. I can choose, honestly, a compassion is basically, and I think that is something I was missing. I think if I want to be somebody that's loved, it's not through validation or like finding the approval of others and putting on this overdeveloped persona that isn't really myself. I think the real way that I can actually like get love is to like be who I actually genuinely am and want to be essentially. And that's through compassion. So.
Damn, brother.
Yeah, that's my big story.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Honestly. That's good.
I got to play the hero for a moment.
You've done it.
Yeah. And honestly, I do believe it is one of the prettiest things I've done. I feel so immensely rewarded from even just mentioning it.
Yeah. It's amazing, dude.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess if anything happens in life, you can either choose to view it as a curse or an opportunity, and this is one I took as an opportunity to do something. So now I still have to deal with a lot of people. I don't think my parents agree with my decision. They were supportive. They said like, okay, well, if that's what you want to do, it's fine. We'll I'll cancel the insurance. I already told them I would do that, and then once I get the money, I can work on my car to at least get it repaired. Right. It is running. It drives. It's just the back is fucked up. The taillights are messed up. The bumper's screwed. I don't know if there's more damage. I'll figure it out in the future. So.
As long as it moves.
Yep. As long as it gets from point A to point B.
It's still a car. Yeah,
my girlfriend said she'd support me and carpool. Tyler also offered to carpool and stuff like that, so I don't have to worry about that if I need to get anywhere.
If you're going anywhere near my work, let me know.
Yeah, dude.
I'll pick you up.
I'll let you know.
I go there every day. So,
you're there all the time. Not for this week, but afterwards.
Yeah, this weekend.
Yeah. Oh, God, you're only taking the weekend off, bro?
I was saying I should take a week, but we'll see.
I think you deserve the week. You were saying earlier that your wife deserves a day off for her birthday. You deserve the week off from this insufferable hellhole.
It's just that the world around doesn't see it that way, you know.
Unfortunately, those car parts need to get done.
They do. We need car parts. I have this song that we sing every morning.
Oh, yeah?
And we go like, we are car parts.
Yeah, it's like a national anthem. They have a flag that's held by a robotic arm.
Yeah. And like a smoggy factory. Yeah. Everybody's like coughing, has like, you know, black like coal dust on their face.
Oh my God. You guys haven't seen Light in Days. The
Pretty
canaries
much.
have died weeks beforehand. You're still down there.
Dude, the guys on night shift, I feel so bad for the guys on night shift because they're supposed to be there only for like 10 hours and they're supposed to get off at like 3 in the morning. So It wouldn't be terrible. You could get home and go to bed and have like a normal life. But 6 p.m. to 6 a.m., that is not good. That is like, that'll age you quickly.
Yeah, your stress will cause you to age way faster.
I feel like I've aged. Like,
God.
I looked in the mirror and I was like, are those bags under my
You're like,
eyes?
I'm graying. I have gray hairs.
I'm getting concerned. One of the guys I work with, literally, like, there's like a few gray hairs in the beard. I'm like, oh no.
Oh god, that sounds horrifying.
I wanted to show you this picture.
Yeah, let's see it.
This is a message from Night Shift, and you can read the times.
Holy shit.
Yeah. So, like, Night Shift, they had enough. It was like a Sunday night. And, like, they send a message or one of the guys sends me a message that said, shit's fucked, happy Monday. And then a photo of, like, him and, like, all the other Night Shift guys, like, drinking. And then he says, dimensional issues, LOL. like, that was the issue. My wife is calling. Does she not know?
It's okay. We can end the podcast. We'll do a short one.
Is this a short one today?
Yeah, it'll be a short one.
I mean, I could just take this phone call.
Yeah, we'll pause it.
All right. Anyway, yeah. Just a,
Yeah, that's really funny. The,
Yeah, it's just like, I don't know.
Dimensional issues, that's what it is. I thought it was like some teleportation issue. I was like, oh man, they're phasing into a new reality. That's what they have to deal with?
No, because they changed the car parts.
Oh, okay, size, yeah.
Yeah, and it didn't work. And so they just left early and went out to a bar, so...
I can't blame them at this point. It sounds like it's quite a miserable slog.
Yeah, so... But, enough about car parts.
Yeah, enough about cars. I'm tired of cars. You got something else you want to
plug?
Maybe we need to get off this car topic.
Dude, you reminded me, your story reminded me to be more human-like. Because I haven't been a human, I've been a robot. I thought about this, like, pop opera I was going to write about, like, how I'm human after all. Like, I take a day off and I'm like, wait a second. What are these birds chirping? What does this mean? Like, it's me, like, uncovering. Okay, here. This is something that I always think about. Every once in a while, whenever I get really stressed, I get to this point where my conscious protects my subconscious, or one way or the other. And what it does is I can protect myself from, like, being overstressed and thinking about that and thinking about how much it sucks and how much I want to, like, just, like, give up and just, like, do whatever, right? My brain tricks itself and kind of blocks those messages for a while. And then what ends up happening is that there's, like, a bucket in the background that fills up with those thoughts and those feelings for a while. And I'm able to just kind of, like, cap it off and be like, no, we gotta just keep working. And it's good to have that, right? Because sometimes you do need to just keep chugging along and doing stuff. But eventually, sometimes it'll overfill. And thankfully, I've had my wife, for, like, because, like, I broke, like, a week or two ago, where I was just, like, I was just done, man. Mm-hmm. I was like, I can't. I went to work the next day, but I was just like, I can't do this anymore. I was just so mentally exhausted. I was so tired of being in this godforsaken place. And it was just like, but I know that it was, at the time, even now, it's good-ish for me, for not just myself mentally and physically, but for my position in life and in, like, a corporate whatever way. And so I was able to get through all that without just, like, giving up and quitting, just because I was like, I have to continue. But anyway, whenever I get through, like, a long job like this, there's, like, an uncapping that I have to mentally do, where I have to, like, sit down and almost meditate and go, like, it's fine now. We're fine now. We can just, like, let all that, like, stress and all those, like, thoughts, just, they can finally just release that, empty the metaphorical bucket of, like, garbage emotions and whatever after a while. And your story reminded me that I need to do that eventually.
Yeah, it's time to dump the bucket.
Yeah, so, your story of compassion has allowed me to become more human again. I feel as though I'm like a Dark Souls character that just crushed a humanity, and it says humanity restored temporarily, and then tomorrow I'll die and it'll get lost, but whatever.
Yeah, you'll have a short-lived ephemeral epiphany that you'll have to continue to relearn.
But I'll just, it's just, you know, I just wanted to, I guess, say that.
No, dude, that's good. I think that's the reason, like, I wanted to share the story, because I do feel like it was a pretty big, like, mental breakthrough into becoming, like, the individual that I respect, essentially.
Yeah.
Rather than somebody that just is, like, a vestige of everyone else's opinions.
Yeah.
I felt like I was able to make a decision in my life that was meaningful to me.
Yeah, yeah. It's really good to have that.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll still have to fight the peanut gallery of decapitated heads that voice my steps, but...
Yeah. What do you think of, like, whenever, in your head, whenever you think of, like, those voices, do you visualize them? Do you visualize, like... Yeah.
I think it comes, like, I think I was raised to have, like, I was raised to, like, please people, like my teachers and my parents and my grandparents and things like that.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of my sense of validation and my self-esteem and even my self-worth is tied to these, like, old, like, echoing voices of things that I feel like I have to do or something. And I have to do them because if I don't do them, then I won't get love or something. Yeah. And I think there's, like, a fear of abandonment there in those feelings and emotions that I'm not able to, like, essentially I was, like, rejecting myself, and in rejecting myself, it perpetuated a cycle of self-abuse, and that cycle of self-abuse was, like, trying to please others, which makes sense, like, that's the reason I haven't been able to work on my game as much as I would have liked to, is because I'm too busy trying to implement, like, everybody else's ideas, things I'm not really motivated to do, and I'm shunning, like, myself and my own opinions.
Yeah.
And I think integrating that, like, concept of, like, the feminine aspect of myself, the anima, like, that I wasn't listening to. Like, I've been recording my dreams and, like, visiting, like, these characters in my head. Actually, I'll tell you a brief other dream that was really interesting to me. Very quickly, though. I was in I lost a fight, and I was in a convenience store. There was an old man, a wise old man in the convenience store that was selling weapons I could use to challenge again and try to fight. So I picked up 3 weapons, and all the weapons were made out of utensils, writing utensils. And so I took these weapons out and confronted the, like, group of people that had beat me up the first time. And they were getting ready to burn a bunch of people in, like, this giant cabin, basically. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to confront the leader. Like, I'm ready. I have my weapons. And so the first person that approaches me was, like, a woman. And I was like, you're not the leader. The second person that claimed to be the leader was, like, a guy puffing his chest. And he was, like, really, brazen about it. I was like, you're not the leader. And then the third person I saw was a, like, small fat kid, like, slinking away, trying to shy away from all the action. I'm like, you're the leader. You're the problem. And so, like, once I went and confronted him, like, they doused the fire, and then, like, the people that were inside the cabin came out and started, like, shaking the kid's hand, like, thanking him. And so when I was analyzing the dreams, the thing I thought of was, like, the wise old man is, like, symbol for, like, rational, like, wise. It's like wisdom that you can learn. And so in essence, I think he was teaching me that the weapon I need to do to confront my problems, it involves writing. It involves journaling. It involves, like, getting these thoughts that are trapped in my head circling out onto paper in order to, like, scrutinize them and actually do them. So that's where I feel like my weapon was. And so the person I was fighting, it wasn't the anima, it wasn't the female aspect of myself, the first woman who came up and claimed to be the boss. It also wasn't the man puffing his chest who I relate to be the ego. It wasn't the ego aspect of myself that was pretending to, be the boss. The person that I'm dealing with, the person that's, like, running my body or is, like, deciding the decisions was, like, this insecure fat kid. I think he was fat because of, like, my self-indulgence. Like, I think that's just the symbol for that. I think I've been self-indulgent and I've been, like, trying to be, like, an insecure little kid. The burning of, like, all these people are probably, like, the burning of, like, the good aspects of my life that I could value, but I'm choosing not to. I'm choosing to, like, burn it all up and not deal with it because I don't want to deal with it. And in confronting this child, this is, like, the aspect of myself that I need to, like, grow up, essentially. So,
damn.
Yeah, I think that was another dream that was, like, really impactful for me that I had a couple weeks ago.
Jesus. See, I wish I had dreams.
Well, I'll tell you what it takes. Just listen to our podcast again.
There you go. Oh, there we go.
If you want the full, unedited journey, I think you'll find something in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
whenever I do have dreams, I usually remember them, but it's just like it's rare.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever I do, but yeah, I know.
You'll get there, man. You have time
At some point,
yeah.
You know.
You just gotta figure out what you want first.
Yeah, but like we've gone over before, usually my dreams are very nonsensical. You know,
They might appear nonsensical until you know.
I have to. My brain's really giving me like a good.
Yeah, it's
like,
trying to rationalize. It's
yeah.
like, your dreams are meaningless. Don't worry about them. Yeah, you don't gotta worry about a thing. Yeah, keep your pretty little head on tight. Yeah, you don't need to go through anything. Let's just keep it as we are. I don't like change. I'm fine. Just keep it in a straight line, please.
Oh, I don't know if I talked about this in the last episode.
No, tell us.
I've definitely talked about this. All right, so I've unlocked like this weird ability to remember things like really well. I think I talked about.
I don't think you did. Keep talking.
Okay, maybe
it's been a month.
We'll find out. I know it's been too long. So like I've like my mom always remembered like everything weirdly, and I always thought that was weird, and I could never remember anything. And then like suddenly I'm on this job, and I'm like, wait, have I always been able to just remember? Have I always actually had a good memory, but I've always tricked myself into thinking I've had a bad memory? And so I look back, and like whenever I was younger, I would use my like the idea that I had bad memory to cover for the fact that I was either embarrassed or like I didn't want to be the center of attention. So if I remembered something, be like, oh, hey, yeah, you remember that, and that would make me the center of attention because I was always afraid of being the center of attention. And so I think that like maybe I don't know. I don't know how all of a sudden like this job just suddenly unlocked it. Maybe because I needed it or whatever. But like I've started just remembering literally like anything and everything, which is odd.
Honestly, I wonder if it's like a coping mechanism for stress, right? Like a survival instinct. Like
to remember?
Yeah, because like you're gonna, if you forget this stuff, you're gonna like be stressed out. Or you won't be able to solve your problems as well.
Yeah, but I mean, like, the stuff that I remember isn't even, like...
Oh, it's not related to work at all?
It's not important stuff.
Oh, okay.
Like, I'll just remember, like, a random, like, day in high school or whatever where, like,
that
something...
That is really strange.
Yeah, like, and, like, a lot of my memories are tied to, like, smells and stuff. Mm-hmm. And so this is another thing, too, is that I recently got my sense of smell back. Mm-hmm. I know I sound stuffy now, but...
Yeah,
that's
a little bit.
You know, whatever. But I lost my sense of smell in, like, 2018, beginning of 2018. I just I didn't really even realize it, but I just lost it then. And then recently, I like spring happened, and I walk outside. I'm like, it smells beautiful outside. I haven't smelled that smell in so long.
Yeah, because you've been in the factory and stuff.
Well, not even because of the factory. It's just I literally haven't smelled spring. Like I haven't. It's hard to describe, but the intensity and the way it smells outside in spring, I haven't smelled it like that since I was like young. And so like all of a sudden, like I just feel like I've reawoken to like new old smells, if that makes any sense. So
yeah,
like,
that's interesting. Yeah, you're gonna have to wake up a little bit earlier than usual and start writing in a journal and ask yourself the question, why am I remembering this stuff, and see what comes out.
I don't know. Well, yeah, exactly. Maybe my subconscious can figure it out. Yeah,
it definitely can.
I think something else too is like I've figured out this weird way of like processing like current information. So like I'll take in information and hear someone talk to me, and I don't really need to think about it, but like I'll take in the information and be able to like already give them like an answer halfway through like their question or whatever. At work I'm talking more or less. So like I think that like at the beginning of this, remember I would always talk about like having dual brain or whatever.
Yeah,
I think like it recently I've been noticing more and more that like I rely on that for times where like I don't want to be conscious. I can subconsciously use all that whatever second brain to just kind of go like just give me an answer, all right, spit it out, and then I can go back to like doing nothing. And so like just kind of watching my brain work in a weird way, so like consciously watching my brain work while I'm like trying to figure out something has been like a really weird thing that I've been starting to do, just because I'm mentally, physically, not physically as much, but mentally just exhausted and done. And bringing myself to that point has, like, made me... Because I like thinking about myself, like, doing things and, like, thinking about... I like thinking. And so, like, whenever I'm thinking about things, when I'm tired, I'm looking at myself think about things. And so it's just this weird, I don't know, thing that's happening.
Yeah, it's like a cycle. You're like astrally projecting, dude. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, and I'm like, the neurons are firing, that's making me remember things, but I don't really understand why or how.
You're like, man, my body is desperately trying to tell me something, but the car parts, man. The car parts.
The car parts. I have, like, noise-canceling headphones. I just put them in all day. And I'm like, I just don't want to hear the, like, smashing of metal and the beeping of the welders and, like...
God, yeah, you're just like, I just want to hear the birds. I want to hear the grass rustle.
Oh my God, you have no idea.
I would kill to just touch a tree right now.
I just
hug a fucking tree.
Dude, I cried to the sound of rain. I was like, oh, rain.
You're like, there's a world out there. There's somewhere else. It's not just here.
I want to be surrounded by nature. Bring me.
There's no place like home. There's no place like home.
I get home, dude.
Tapping your boots.
I realize more and more too that I will if I were left alone to my own whatever, dude, I would be such a hermit. I get home and I'm almost mad that my neighbor's like outside working on his car and I might have to go like, hey, and then like go in my car into wherever,
because you're just miserable.
Well, it's just like I don't want to see other people. Like, once I'm home, I don't want to... No one else should exist. I should just be able to walk in and not think that other people exist, but there's, like, people walking their dog, like, dog
you're like, I gotta see their unsightly fucking face as they wave at me happily. Like, their life's going fucking perfect.
Yeah, come on.
Insufferable. I see them waving in the sunlight between my lawn, my beautiful lawn.
Oh, that guy's got his kid riding a bike. Oh!
Yeah, fucking stupid kids. God. They don't have responsibilities like me.
Yeah.
They don't even know what a car part is, dumb idiot.
They haven't even seen one. Dude.
Yeah.
I breathe and eat car parts.
In fact, that's all I have for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Car parts. My brain, a revolving car part. Starting to become mechanized, just like those car parts. The only value in relationships I have is with the grease and the car parts.
The glue that holds the car parts together.
Yeah. These robotic arms that only move in several directions.
I see the grid. Dude, alright, wait, what?
You're good, keep going.
Okay.
As long as you want. You got the day off, fuck it.
I know.
Tell me as much as you want. I don't care.
No, there's like a guy, this legendary, like, alright, so every once in a while you'll have like NPCs show up into the car part office. Okay. And like these schlubs, okay, we're working on ABB robots, okay?
Yeah.
And sometimes they'll send you like some low tier thug to like come and work on, like from the, okay, ABB makes these robots in a factory, right? And every once in a while they need to service them and change like wiring and stuff like that. So whenever there's like a big issue, like, hey, that thing is not working as it's intended to be, you call them and they send a guy out, right? And we have like a normal guy and he's pretty good, right? But every once in a while they'll like send out some schlub and like you can tell, like they walk in and like they have like a level cap and like a color associated with them on your HUD, you know?
Yeah.
And so like you ask them a few questions and at first it's all question marks. But as soon as you ask them a few questions, like all of a sudden it's like level 7, blue. I'm like, oh, this guy sucks.
Yeah, as soon as he's not responding, you're like, oh, he's a low-level grunt.
Yeah.
Like, I can't get my questions answered.
They sent me a schlub today.
Yeah. Not the fucking lemon again.
Yeah, and it's just like, I what I'll do with the schlubs is I'll be like, alright, yeah, I got this one issue that the last schlub couldn't fix, and I already have the solution for it, but I can't deal with you today, so... Here you go, and like they'll be like, I don't know, I think it's a wiring issue. Like, yeah,
Yeah, you open the door, it's a closet full of schlubs. You push them in, you're like, get acquainted with these guys. They're like, oh hey, how you doing, brother? He's like, dude, haven't you been missing for like a month? You lock the door.
They like do like the NPC wave, like
yeah. and then you're sitting there and you're like, they can't possibly keep sending an infinite supply of schlubs if I lock them here and feed them under the door.
But every once in a while, so like the normal guy that we have, he's like a purple rarity. Yeah. He's like a level 47.
Yeah.
And, like, you know, he walks around and I can have him, like, do stuff. But, like, there's times where, like, he's like, I'm like, your level cap's too low for this, bud. And he can't figure it out. But, like, you would think that someone from the actual company that makes the robots would know more than you. But there are times, and, like, I don't even like bragging or anything. But, like, there's times where, like, they didn't read their own damn manuals.
Yeah.
And it's just like, come on, dude. Like, I send them on something that, like, I don't have the time to deal with. So I'm like, hey, there's this issue that one of my guys is dealing with. Can you go over there and like solve this issue? And it's like, if I were to walk over there, if you gave me an hour or so, I could maybe figure it out, right? Mm-hmm. But like this guy, he should be able to just walk over like, oh yeah, that issue, I got it. Mm-hmm. So anyway, we had an issue that like no one could solve. I'm at the point right now where I'm so done, I don't even want to solve any more issues, right? It's my favorite part of my job, but I just don't want to be in the factory anymore, so I don't solve any more issues. So anyways, they bring in, finally, this guy I've talked over the phone. He, like, wrote the background software. He's, like, he's a level 100. Oh, rare. Orange rarity. Yeah. And I'm like...
Shiny.
He, like, walks in, and I'm like... maybe the levels are still question marks, but from what I'm told, this guy's definitely going to be an orange rarity. So, like, I walk over to him.
You fucking walk.
And they call him the ABB Gremlin, because he's kind of short, and his voice, he sounds like Alex Jones. Oh. Like, 1-to-1. Oh, shit. And, like... So, like, I finally meet him in person, like, oh, hey, I'm Sam, what are you up to? Oh, yeah, I got some issues and stuff, and, like, you know, I kind of, like, said him, because I had an issue, so I just hand him that, and I'm like, I expect him, like, just get it all done. Well, at some point, I call him over for an issue, and, like, he plugs into a robot, and he's like, why isn't it working? Like, I can't do, like, a good Alex Jones. Yeah. Like, why isn't it working? I can't figure it out here. I'm like, dude, you didn't log into the thing. Oh, yeah. And he got, like, a little quiet. I'm like, oh, no.
Oh, no. He's not an orange rarity, shiny Pokemon I thought.
And he starts, like, telling us this stuff that, like, is, like, basic. I'm like, this is getting a little suspicious. This isn't going... Yikes. And then, like, the thing is that he did write all the background software. All the software that we deal with, like, he knows it all. He knows it well. Because I've called him and, like, tried to fix, like, locked, like... Obviously, some of the, like, background programs are, what do you call it, encoded. Mm-hmm. So, like, I can't look at them. So, like, I'll try to, like, talk to him to try to fix it, like, in the foreground or whatever. And so, like, but, you know, like, we get through, like, this issue, and he keeps, like, blaming, like, the fact that we didn't read his manuals or, like, all this other stuff. And then, like, we get to, like, an error. He's like, oh, well, damn, I guess I gotta, let me go take a look and I'll try to fix it. It's like, he like had to leave, go home, write new code to put into the robot to like fix our issues. It's like, you're like blaming us for being stupid and saying that like we're not as good. And then like you leave and you come back with like brand new code to like fix an issue. It's like,
yeah, you clearly fucked up there. Just admit you fucked up.
Yeah, maybe you...
Or, like...
Yeah. Maybe he's just a purple. I don't know, man. Like...
I mean, him having the ability to do that is cool, but, like, not being able to be like, oh, yeah, sorry, this is, like, an issue on my end.
It's just douchey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, you guys didn't read my manuals that I laboriously paid ghostwriters in China to fill out. And that are in broken... India English.
Yeah. Dude, he sends me like a OneDrive, so it's got like all of the files you need to like program with his stuff, right? And like I open it up and it's so disorganized and stuff. Man. And he's like, did you open up the one Excel sheet for the one whatever? And I'm like, no, where is it? He's like, let me check. Oh, it's not in there. I just uploaded it, so you should be able to get it now. Yeah, use that to fix. It's like,
yeah,
you haven't even given me the proper supplies to do all this. Like,
he's like, oh yeah, don't worry, it's in row 5, column 6. Yeah, you just gotta it's like playing battleships. Just
E5.
You're like, the files aren't even in a grid. You have like a 3-dimensional like open space on Google SketchUp with a bunch of links to all of your different folders. And then he's like, oh yeah, sorry, let me fix that. And then he like puts you in first person mode, and you're like, I have to go walk through the house to find the file that I'm looking for. He's like, yeah, this is how I access everything. You know, I read this thing where it's easier to remember stuff if you have a location for it. So I just put all my files in Google SketchUp, and I walk through the house every time. And you're like, well, I've never been through the house. How am I supposed to? And he's like, oh yeah, sorry, I forgot to program the basement. You gotta go through the cellar, and you're like, well, the cellar's locked, and he's like, oh yeah, see, this is like an escape room kind of game. You gotta find the apple, and then there's an old woman who gives you a key, and then after, the key isn't for the cellar, it's for this barrel on the side of the cellar.
Yeah, so just grab the magic wand, you grab the boulder, put it on top of your head, so that way you glitch through the floor.
Yeah. And once you spin around 3 times and say Bloody Mary in the mirror upstairs, then you have to use the Konami code inside the bathtub.
And that's where the Excel sheet is.
Yeah. And he's like, no, you have to snake the drain. And then the Excel sheet, the first part of the Excel sheet is down there. And then the rest of it, you gotta get minimized. It's like an Alice in Wonderland thing. There's a potion that you drink and become small. Do you even read?
Did you read the manual?
Yeah, did you read the 15 manuals that I released on self-published Amazon that you have to buy? And you're like, no, I didn't even see that. Where is that? He's like, it's in column 5.
And then, like, one of my favorite things that he's done, I fixed his garbage because he forgot to, like, in the basic code, like, in order to connect to, like, a dispenser, you needed, like, this one cross-connect thing. And, like, I'm reading the manual for the dispenser, and I'm reading the changelog, and I'm reading the manual for the robot, and I'm like, man, this is really weird, but it looks like I just need this one thing. So I make my own stuff, put it in, and it works. And then I send him an email like, hey, you forgot to put this signal. He's like,
make sure you're using the latest version. It should be fine. Oh, no, actually, nope, I misspelled the word pressurized. Yep, there's a patch on the drive now. It's like,
too late. You're too late. I already fixed it everywhere with my own.
I fixed your stupid broken code.
Yeah. So, but, oh, God.
He's like, yeah, it's on the drive, and it's just like, he does share screen, it's his desktop, and it's just like a landfill of fucking icons. He's like, yeah, it's under that pile to the right. I have it separated by pile.
So basically, you're gonna have to dig your hand in the couch. Don't look at it, but you want to go to the right and then dig to the left. You find a crack, and that's where the files are.
Oh, sorry, I had the wrong hard drive plugged in. Let me reboot my computer. It's like Windows XP. He's like, yeah, it's right here.
But it's just, yeah.
Can't admit blame ever.
Yeah. But no, and then you, like, okay, so we've been on this project for like 4 months, and like he's like, oh, you know, if you guys would have read my my instructions, this would have all gone flawlessly. And it's like, we didn't get the instructions till 4 weeks in, whenever we were already like done and we found all of our little workarounds to make everything work. So it's like, it's already poorly programmed, dude. And you should have came in at the beginning and be like, here's what you need in order to properly do all this. But instead he's like just blaming us.
Yeah.
It's just, it's dumb.
He's like, you didn't read my manuals. You look at the manuals, it's like the Da Vinci Code. There's like pictures and symbolism, and you have to like decipher like different broken English and Masonic symbols. You're like, what are you even writing this in? He's like, oh, I programmed the manual. So you have to decode. It's actually in a different language. I always... See, the problem is I don't think in English. I think in machine code. Because I grew up next to a robot. I'm like one of those wild children you hear about that grow up, except my dad left me in a factory. And I had to learn to fend for myself by stealing the sandwiches out of lunchboxes and locker rooms from the guys that would come in, because at night I would crawl out and no one would see me because there was no one working the night shift back then. They had better labor unions, so people didn't work long hours like they do now. And the robot taught me everything I know. I accidentally turned them on, and they gave me hands. I learned ASL, machine programming language, and so that's how I think, and that's how I write. And so in order to understand my instructions, you have to go through this. I'm a feral child.
Basically what I'm getting to is I'm a feral child.
Yeah, I'm a feral child. And that water's turning the frogs gay. I don't feel gay yet, but I've been eating a lot of frogs.
But yeah, so anyway, yeah, that kind of covers it, dude.
Yeah.
I think we had a wholesome podcast.
Honestly, I feel like this is a pretty good podcast.
This was, yeah.
We're going to have to do another one on your next day off in 3 months.
I know, yeah.
Maybe when the whip breaks and they got to repair it.
Yeah, well, what they'll do is they're like, all right, well, we don't have the whip to repair it. Just grab some aluminum rebar or something and just use that instead.
He's like, oh, I didn't write that part in the program, but it's because you didn't read the instruction manual. It tells you how to get around the bad labeling of the variables. I told you for the 5th time, boot up Google SketchUp. Sorry, it's not on Google. It's on Google Earth this time. Here's the latitude.
Go to these coordinates on Google Earth and then type those into an encoder program I wrote that's on the drive.
He's like, you're like, I don't see it on the drive. You're like, oh yeah, I just uploaded it just a second ago on my 3rd computer. And he's like, notice how on the moon where they landed, the shadows don't match up with where... He's like, I don't think we landed on the moon.
Oh god, we have a flat earther at
Yeah.
work. Did I tell you about that?
I think you did, yeah.
Okay, yeah, one of the programmers is a flat
You
earther.
can get into it again if you want to. What is
No.
it? Is it helping his programming to believe in flat Earth or what?
No. I tried to tell him that, like, the robots have, like, they account for gravity, so gravity at least somewhat exists. It's like, no. Buoyancy and density, that's the real stuff.
Yeah, he pulls out his crystal. He's got copper wrapped around it.
No, dude, that's me.
Yeah,
No,
that's you.
the
Maybe you
coil
need some
energy.
copper. Yeah. Maybe you need a copper coil, dude.
I need to recoil. Right now, I'm like I'm really straight. I need to
Yeah.
be coiled again.
Yeah, you need to be you need to be free and chaotic like nature intended. You're too rigid.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're too inhuman and machinated like a robot.
Exactly. Dude, do you ever get alright. Massage.
Yeah.
I have never felt in my entire life that I needed a massage, or at least like go to the chiropractor or something, more than now. The amount of walking I have done and standing on like hard cement for the last 3 months is like more than I've ever done my entire life.
Yeah, pacing between stations,
Oh,
looking at people with like deer in headlight eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what's your problem?
Yeah, and they're like, I don't know anymore.
I hope somebody in the future, one of our fans, can do like an animated of us of this, because I want the contrast between like several weeks ago of you being like, I love helping people, to like the demoralized Sam now. Like, God, I just can't deal with this fucking dude anymore. Like, fuck people and their problems. I need a week off. I'm done.
Dude, the guys that I'm talking about though that come in with the low levels, they're supposed to help.
Yeah.
They're supposed to alleviate.
You're like, you're supposed to be my knight in shining armor.
Yeah. Nobody's coming for us.
And no one can help us. You're like stranded at sea. The only thing you hear is like the intercom over the phone. He's like, did you find it on the drive? Did you look at the drive? Have you read my 30 different notebooks? Oh, sorry. Those are my D&D campaign notebooks.
It's like, they're like,
Did you see that we released a new version of Robotware? I know it takes 2 hours and potentially doesn't work, but you guys really need to update every single robot, even though they're working already.
Yeah, I didn't tell you that I put the file on the drive because I didn't know this problem existed until I fixed it after your email, but you really need to keep up with that.
God.
He's like, no, you just need to consult the 3 fairies that are before the door. It's so simple. I don't understand why you fucking contractors are so stupid.
That's exactly it, dude. You retarded contractors. At some point, he wanted everybody's phone number and email, and I don't know why. He's like,
I really need you to write down everybody's phone number, name, and email. I'm like,
I don't want to give that information to you.
I'm gonna look you guys up on Yellow Pages and leave a review.
No, I think he wanted us to like be banned out of something or something.
He's creating that fucking blacklist, dude. That's what he's doing.
Exactly what he's doing.
He's like these incompetent workers, and then you have like a video of him trying to log into a robot. And he's like, I don't understand why this isn't working.
Yeah,
I programmed these robots. I wrote the fucking whole back end for this shit.
Yeah,
and they should just work.
It's like the moment, like you can tell, like the stupid thing is you can tell this guy is like a little genius when it comes to like writing the stuff.
Yeah.
But like whenever he's like trying to explain it or trying to like help you with something, he's not meant for it. He's not built for it, dude.
He's so divorced from reality.
Yeah, you need like someone else to just come by and translate for him. Mm-hmm. So that way you can like, oh yeah, okay, all right.
Yeah, they have like a classroom, they set you down, like the guy says something and the translator like mimics everything he says but like makes sense and you're like, "Oh my god, that makes so much sense." It's like a sign translator.
Yeah.
No, honestly, good cast, man.
Yeah.
Hopefully that guy leaves or doesn't come back or...
No, I want him to come back. He's
just call him in as much as possible.
I wish. Well, like his job really is to say that we did a bunch of stuff wrong. Like they were called in more or less to tell the factory they were working at that we did stuff wrong. So that way they would essentially buy ABB guys to come in to like fix everything, but like they haven't been able to do much, and so it didn't work out for them. So like I would love to see Big Boss come in again and
Gremlin.
Like, yeah, the ABB Gremlin come in. But
that's so good, dude.
Yeah.
Well, man, do you have any closing thoughts?
Yeah, dude. They're in my head.
That's cool.
Goodbye. I wish